Let's see how it goes.
Looks like we are live.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Glisin. I'm a speedrunner from Colombia. Galaxian is here with me to do this cross team racing speedrun today. I'll be running all cups. It is a category where you have to play 16 tracks, like in these four different cups in order. Well, sorry, not in order. I can play in the order I want, and that's a reason why I'll be doing like the hardest ones, like the hardest one first, and for the last ones I'll be doing the the easy ones. Introduce yourself, Galaxian.
Hi, y'all. I am Galaxian. I am a CTR speedrunner also. I've been playing for a little bit, just a wee bit. Uh, yeah, I'm excited to be here to see the run.
Yeah,
Support my scout
he's
broskies.
a lot better than me, so it's kind of fun to have Alexian here to cast a run from me. So I'll try my best. I'm kind of nervous, but let's see how it goes.
You
Um,
got this. You'll do good.
okay. So the run will start when I press X to start this cup. So with nothing else to say, um, I'll start in three. Well, let me see if all the light speed is okay. Yeah, I have the global hotkeys disabled. Okay. Yeah. Um, I start in three, two, one, go. This first um track has an skip called boomerang, but I'm not going to do it like the hard way. Galaxian will explain more about it.
So before we get to the shortcut, I'll explain what the basics of driving are. So you'll see that uh, Lawson is drifting a lot, and essentially the way that boosting and mini turbos work, that's a shortcut. But the way that it works is at the bottom right, you will see a meter charge, and you essentially want to press the opposite shoulder button when the meter turns red. Filling it up more will give you well it will give you more reserves in a way, because once you do a boost, so you get three boosts during a drift. I didn't explain that part. And there's different speed levels to the different boosts. Once you've done the third boost in the drift, you will have what we call yellow fire. And basically, all the boosts you do add more reserves to this to maintain that speed. And essentially that is the name of the game in terms of boosting in this game, is get the highest speed you can and try to maintain it for as much of the race as possible by doing full mini turbos, by charging them as full as you can. And then the shortcut is it's fairly self-explanatory in terms of how it looks. There is the faster, more optimal way, as Glosson alluded to, but it is pretty tricky, which thankfully with all cups you can put the track first, so you can kind of just grind it until you get it 3 out of 3. But yeah, this version you basically do a brake spin to touch the turbo pad and turn backwards and jump over the wall like that, and it skips a good portion. It saves, like with this version, it saves like I don't know, like 8 seconds or so, 6 to 8 seconds. So it's pretty substantial, and it's a lot easier. So it's definitely a lot more beginner friendly. Um, but yeah, so that is approaching the end of the track now. And then the next track, we're already getting to another doozy of a mechanic. The next track is Engine Labs, and yeah, so it's just gonna take another unique boost-related mechanic towards the end of the track, which we call Ultimate Sacred Fire, or USF for short, as I'll be calling it. But yeah, so basically, Lawson's going to be trying to get as many full boosts and just boosts in general as he can, so that you'll see here he got like a lot of speed when going off that turbo pad. There are specific turbo pads that give you USF, and so essentially you want to build as much reserves as possible so that when you go off of the boost pad, you will maintain that speed for as long as possible. And so it's a big balancing game of making sure your lines are good, but also you're getting as many boosts as you can that are of a high strong quality. But yeah, you see at the end strip section, he's just burning through all of it to maintain the speed. And at the start of the next lap, when you're approaching that last turn, you see that he did what was called a U-turn. You can do that without U-turning with a Coco, but it is definitely a lot tighter than like lower or higher turning characters, I should say. So yeah, here he'll be doing a U-turn, which is essentially you press brake and then down, and in that situation right, with down left or right, and you'll turn a lot sharper than you would normally, but because you're pressing brake, you're gonna forfeit all of your reserves. So it's basically a thing that we use when it's essential or necessary. Uh, but yeah, those are like the big things in regards to this track. Um, Thankfully, the glitch that could potentially happen didn't happen at the first lap, so that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, if they're essentially at the spiral after these barrels, if you drive the right way, it will cause the position tracker to glitch out and potentially put you in second place, even though you are in first place in terms of where you are physically, and you'd have to lap the AI, which is possible, but it's really hard. And with Coco, I imagine it'd be harder. So it's a good thing that didn't happen. That would have been very tragic. Although thankfully, all cups you don't have to win the track. So I mean, you just have to finish the cup. So in any percent adventure mode stuff, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, at least if that happens here, like the run will die at the start, you know. In no major glitches,
Yeah,
it's almost at the end.
yeah. All right, Hot Air Skyway is the next track. You are doing that shortcut. Nice. Uh, this track is shortcut heavy. You'll see that he turns around at a certain point to advance more of the track so that he can take a bigger cut. And then here at the fence, he does another U-turn to turn around and jump over the fence. It's actually really easy. The first shortcut's kind of tricky, but yeah, those are two shortcuts that he'll be doing. There is a third one, hairpin, but
I'm not going
it's
to
not a
read.
huge time save. It saves 0.5. It's not super important compared to the other two. But yeah, you'll see here he drives a certain distance, U-turns around, and then you take a line to jump in between where you would be respawned and the wall, because there's a like little gap where you can jump through it and dodge the respawn. And it's admittedly not as huge of a time save as you'd expect, especially compared to the second shortcut. The second shortcut saves like around 12 seconds or something, 10 seconds or so. It's pretty big. Well, it probably actually saves less if you do like USF stuff, but that's a different thing. Yeah, I guess some other small things to mention. You will see next to the lap counter he has 10 of those what we
Fruits.
call Wumpa fruit,
Yeah.
and every one that you get increases your speed by what's the math for that? I don't know. When you have 9, which is the max amount, it increases your speed by 2%. So I don't know how that would add up mathematically, but yeah. So getting as many as you can is ideal, with obviously without sacrificing lines too heavily for them. But it is pretty substantial time save in some tracks. So in some tracks, you'll see that he'll go out of his way to get them. Also, nice gold.
Thank you.
Runs off to a good start. All right. Slide Coliseum is a nice breather track unless you go for the shortcuts. I don't know if you're doing those
I
or
don't know
not.
how to do them.
Fair enough. Yeah, so this is a nice breather track, which is a good opportunity, I think, to discuss other movement-related mechanics. So you might see how sometimes he'll do a jump, but it'll be combined with a drift. That is what we'll call a midair. It's a pretty essential mechanic, and it's not too difficult, but it takes some getting used to. Where you essentially do a turn input before the jump comes out, and it'll allow you to combine the drift and jump at the same time, which is really good for reserve purposes. And another thing related to jumping is it's not super prevalent on this track, but the next track it will be actually quite helpful. It is what we call propulsions, which is essentially you. It's a little weird to explain, but you jump. It's like a propelled jump, I guess, but the way that they happen is you essentially double jump, either at the base of a jump or like a hill or at the top of a hill, and you'll basically be propelled forward with more momentum. And that all is related to another mechanic, which hasn't been super prevalent yet in the first couple, which honestly is really nice because then you can explain all the other stuff. But in the next track, there will be a powerful physics-based mechanic that will be introduced, which I can explain when we get there.
It's
Yeah,
kind of bad.
we're approaching. First cup's almost done. Another gold.
I only have one run here, so
Yeah, next cup is Crash Cup. Or, not Crash Cup, that's what we did. Nitro Cup. Which would be probably the hardest cup, depending on what strats and shortcuts you go for. Alright. Mystery Caves is the next track. And this is a good track to introduce the mechanic I was alluding to, which we call Speed Ghosts. It's a very quirky name. But Speed Ghosts are essentially any speed or bursts of speed that are higher than your fire level speed, I guess, is a way to call it. I was going to call it base speed. I think calling it the fire speed makes more sense. But yeah, you'll see he went down the downhill and he has higher speed than he would have normally. And we preserve that through another mechanic that we call frogging, which is essentially bunny hopping, but we named it differently because we're cool like that. Oh, that was an interesting position glitch. But yeah, so essentially, when you're in the air, you lose speed slower, and because there's like less friction, and so combining that with when we have speed that is higher than our normal driving speed, it allows us to preserve it for a lot longer and just go faster. But yeah, you'll see he double jumped off of the ramp, and it gave us an increased burst of speed. And you can chain a lot of that through that entire section, and just keep like gaining more and more speed if done properly. And it's a very exhilarating section. But yeah, speed ghosts are the final like the final thing that glues everything together with reserves and boosting and lines and speed ghosts, and it's like a delicate balancing act of all three. You know, making sure your lines are good and that you have adequate reserves and that you're able to take advantage of the SGs which happen, and it becomes very nuanced and technical once you get deeper into the weeds. That was pretty solid.
that wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Papu's Pyramid. Well, I know he's going for
No,
the
no, I'm
shortcut, so
not.
you say you're not?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. Probably because the run's actually like a good pace, and I completely get that. so I don't have to explain it. Whew. But yeah, so Papu's Pyramid. The track isn't. It has a shortcut at the end, which is I feel like I don't know if it's considered infamous or not, but it's pretty funny looking. You basically jump onto this wall and just skip the whole like end like turn section, and it saves a good amount of time, probably like 4 to 5 seconds. But yeah, that's like the big thing is that wall, which would have been part of a shortcut that he could have potentially gone for, but it is like a more like world record level shortcut. It's pretty hard. It would have been gone for the kind of a meme for marathons, because like every marathon run for the most part has gone for it. So it's like yeah.
I failed
Yeah.
to the marathon tradition.
Yeah. So yeah. Otherwise, this track isn't like too crazy. Yeah, it's unfortunate. That pillar can be pretty tricky, especially with the lower turning characters. This track is notably tricky with speed character, which Glisin is playing as an acceleration character, which is slightly slower, but their turning is higher, and it can kind of balance out on a lot of tracks, like Papu's Pyramid, for example. Cortex Castle. This is one of the hardest tracks in the game, and as you can see, it is filled chock full of 90-degree turns, and it doesn't really have a lot of like speed ghost gimmicks or whatnot. It is pretty much just pure driving. Besides USF, which will be used at the very end, off of the big jump. You basically wouldn't jump off of the ramp. I didn't mention this about USF. You don't want to get. I love when that happens. But yeah, I didn't mention this about USF, but you don't want to boost when you have USF because you will lose USF. It is quite different from Nitro Fueled, where in that game they basically turned it into like a fire level like all the others, so you can boost and whatnot when you have it. It's called Blue Fire in that game, but in this game it's a lot different in terms of how it works. So like on the last ramp, he ideally will not jump off of it and just drive, and it will maintain the speed. And then all the reserves that you built up during the race will be burnt off of there. Anything else noteworthy? I mean, it's pretty simple. Do you have anything that you feel is mention worthy?
Here in Cortex Castle?
Yeah, or just in general. If there's anything I haven't mentioned, I can't think of.
I don't know. I do already have explained almost every mechanic I do.
Yeah, I guess I can mention items. Although I guess Tiger Temple is a better point, but I'll mention them now. Yeah, so there's a lot of items that are kind of standardized throughout the kart racing genre, but some of them are pretty notable for different reasons. You have throwable items, which you can actually throw into Wumpa crates, which will be helpful in some tracks if you want to optimize lines and not sacrifice too much. And boost items, because the way that the boost and general speed mechanics are in this game, boost items aren't really as helpful as like Mario Kart, because you would just give you reserves if you're at that fire level already. But it's still helpful for certain things because it would increase your reserves, which means you could in theory push speed ghosts more. But yeah, Tiny Arena, this is the Wario Stadium of this game, essentially.
Yeah.
It even has like
as a Mario Kart 64 runner, I also hate Wario Stadium, so it is also it is another thing this track has in common with that one, because the shortcut in all the cups skips in MK64 is like the same idea. You have to jump the wall, not with an item, but it is also very stressful. So yeah,
Yeah. Now, hopefully the game gives you one, because he's looking for a nitro
I'm not going
specifically,
to
which
get it.
is the juice of TNT. Yeah, watch his marathon luck. Oh yeah, this is looking great. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it is a massive time save. So if like you're going for, oh, thank God. Okay, so yeah, he is going to be placing a nitro at a somewhat specific spot. You can
Yeah,
make different spots work, and then you just go into it and, ooh, we got it. Let's
let's
go. Like
go.
that's hype. It's such a sick shortcut. It's pretty precise, and obviously it allows you to skip to the end of the lap, and it saves like 45 seconds or so. You can do it a second time, but understandably, got one in a marathon. I'd be satisfied with that. Does your PB get a TA scoop?
In this category, no, no, I failed it. Like I didn't reset, but I failed.
Oh, so this is massive time save.
Yeah,
Let's go. Yeah, the shortcuts are the most like infamous like flashy things in this track, but this track has a lot of like driving fundamentals and whatnot, doing propulsions up hills in certain ways to get more speed and optimizing the lines fully. There's a lot of interesting driving tech that gets applied here, but understandably, the shortcut is the absolute like big thing to nail in this track. Unless you're like time trials and skipless are where the driving optimization I think gets most seen and most rewarded here.
yeah, that's a hell of
Yeah.
a time save.
Whew. And that is the end of the Nitro Cup. The last two cups are a lot less intensive compared to the previous two. There are some tricky tracks in them, but you have a lot of the hub 1 and 2 tracks in these two cups. So it's a lot chiller. The
uh,
next track in the next cup is Ruse Tubes. This track's a short track, but it is a great showcase of the power of Speed Ghost. And yeah, so there is like two big sections that you get a Speed Ghost. This first downhill, and then you froggy it up to the hill right here. You can actually get a Speed Ghost off of that uphill, and then you could, in theory, keep it through this spiral if you wanted to. But yeah, and then this big downhill right here, you get another Speed Ghost, and you land in the little dip right there, and ooh, nice. And you can preserve that Speed Ghost, even ideally up to the off-road cut here, and the track is very quick if you like can keep chaining the Speed Ghosts together. And this is one of my personal favorite tracks when it goes right. It feels so nice. Like it's like insanely
yeah, when
satisfying.
you do like 22 laps.
Yeah, it's like woo. This game makes you feel like a god player when things go right. Uh, yeah, otherwise this track doesn't have a lot to it. Otherwise,
Could be better, but I'm not going to complain.
yeah, good enough. Very good. Yeah. All right, next track, Dingo Canyon. This track is also pretty simple, relatively speaking. There is just pretty much one big downhill that you can get a strong SG off of, and you could preserve it for a long time, or you don't get it, and the track becomes very simple. And yeah, it's pretty. The lap is pretty much just determined by how the SGs went in that section that he just went through, and yeah. I hate the armadillo cycles. I don't
Yeah,
know why they are my worst enemy here. It's so weird. They always get me when I least want them to. But yeah, in the first lap, did you do the X plus square thing in the shortcut? Lap one? It looked like you did, but I wasn't sure.
Like the shortcut in the cactus or what?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I did.
yeah. So that's a more recently developed tech where you, for some reason, when you hold X and square in off-road, you will experience less slowdown, which obviously if you have reserves, that's worse because you're just going to lose reserves from holding square. But at the start of the lap, you don't have reserves, so you can just do that, and it's a lot more consistent and RTA viable to do it that way. But yeah. uh, in terms of the fork in the road, the right path is faster, but the left path is technically faster, I think, if you have an SG. I feel like it could go either way because the all cups task it goes the right side, but I don't know.
I didn't want it to go to the left side, but I was scared. I got hit by the armadillo.
Yeah, the armadillo was kind of
Armadillo.
sus there. Dragon Mines, this is a pretty tricky track, I would say. It definitely trips up a lot of like newer players because of the minecart cycle and the shortcut as a whole. It is definitely the most tricky part because here you cut through the tunnel and that mine like the railroad is off road and that is gonna slow you down. Which there is cycles throughout the track with these mine carts. There's like 4 mine carts or something which cycle around, and sometimes the minecart will be in a position where it'll make taking the shortcut really hard or really risky. It's always
Like right
possible
now.
between. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, in this track, the X plus square tech is also applicable. If you U-turn the shortcut, you can just hold X and square and froggy through it, and it will make it a lot less, I guess, less tricky. I don't know. I was thinking of a word. Oh, that was a good SG. That was a good because yeah, you can get a big SG off the downhill at the start, and you can keep it for a long time. In time trials, it like you can keep it all the way up to like the minecart shortcut. Time trials get pretty crazy with optimization, and yeah, this track's kind of dumb with the finish line. You can jump over it, and then the lap doesn't count, and it's really funny. Everyone experiencing that for the first time, they're like, "What? What happened?"
Yeah, I still have a clip from like 1 year ago when I still didn't know why it didn't happen. It killed a run that in those times it was very good for me, you know. So it was very sad.
Yeah. But yeah, Sewer Speedway. This is actually a pretty technical track, especially for Hub One. But yeah, on the walls in that enclosed area at the end, the for some reason when you drive on them, you just get like a lot of speed, just a crap ton, and you can get a lot when you get a lot of speed off the wall. You can like jump off of it and preserve it with frogging, and it looks really cool. There are other spots in the track where you can get SGs, like around that first barrel you can, but that's more of a time trial strat. But
I'm not getting
on
it.
this, you got something. You can get a really strong stuff that can last for like into the past this first ramp of the next lap. Yeah, this track has a lot of different ways to optimize it with speed ghosts, and it is probably it's one of the tracks where technical expression I think it can be most prevalent. Ah, fortunate barrel cycle. Yeah, because of the strats that we do involving the walls, the barrels can be a bit of a problem if they're in the undesirable spot when we want to do the SG. Man, we're already on to the last cup. This is crazy.
Yeah, last 4 races.
Yeah, this run's going pretty good so far, though. All things considered. And yeah, the last cup is by far the easiest. You got a lot of fun, simple tracks like Crash Cove, my favorite track. This would be the first track in the run if you're doing any percent or really any adventure mode category. But yeah, it's very simple. It's basically just taking good lines and keeping your reserves up, and it's pretty straightforward. It's got a lot to optimize still in terms of the like time trialing and whatnot. Like it with a this is also probably one of the tracks where acceleration character loses the most time compared to speed character, but it can still definitely stay competitive in terms of adventure mode with just having higher acceleration for hub movement and whatnot. But yeah, with a like speed character, you can get times of like up to like as low as like 118. With acceleration character, it's like I think like a equivalent would be like barely a 119 or something. But yeah, the track, even for being so simple, it has a lot of like technical stuff that you can get deep in the weeds of. That's really one of the beautiful things about this game. It's never ending. You can always go faster, and it's really cool.
And this was the first time in a marathon like I didn't fail the crash code shortcut. I'm being serious.
It's crazy. Sometimes the simplest things trip us up. I can relate. I have over 3,000 resets in Crash Code because I'm just a perfectionist for that track for some reason. Yeah, okay, Tiger Temple. This track is the only track with an intended RNG shortcut, and yeah, this is a shortcut or a track where you need throwable items to you. There's a wall with a what am I saying? A wall with a door which opens up when you throw an item at it. Which the throwable items are a beaker, like he has, uh, a bowling bomb, or a bubble shield. You can also use missiles, but you're not going to get those in first place, so it's not relevant. But yeah, so you want one of those three items, and then you can throw it at this monkey door, and then take a nice shortcut.
I missed the boxes.
Oh, let's hope that RNG does not screw you over. All right. But yeah, with this grass cut, there is like a time trial optimal way, which Glosson did on the first lap, because you can use the X plus square tech at the start at the first laps, but it's marginally faster on that one, depending on if you get an SG, then you made it really strong.
Well, 2 out
Yeah,
of 3.
2 out of 3. Yeah, 2 out of 3. It's fine. You still save time, so W. Blizzard Bluff. This is one of my also personal favorite tracks. It is one of the shorter tracks. I think I don't know if it's the shortest in
I would
terms of
say it
like
is the
just
shortest, right? Yeah.
yeah, especially if you get all the speed tech. But yeah, there is the three hills which he just passed after the boulder, which have a lot of variability
Well,
in terms of
it won't be the shortest in this run.
and yeah, the fence cut there. Unfortunately, it could be a little temperamental sometimes because you want to basically get a propulsion off of the snow hills before it so you can jump over it. But some of that geometry is weird and will give you a slow jump, which basically makes propulsions not work. So, but yeah. Otherwise, there is okay, barely. Uh, but yeah. Otherwise, there is the boulder cycle, which it is impacted by lag, but you can predict it pretty much based on how you drove and like the lap times and whatnot. Obviously, you can't see the lap times, which is one of my pet peeves with arcade mode. Like, I don't know why it doesn't show the lap times, but it's whatever. But yeah, simple track, relatively speaking, and we are on to the last track, the final stretch, Cocoa Park.
That it is
This is probably,
ironically the track of the character I'm using.
yeah, literally is a home stretch. But yeah, so
I should have tried to get a mask or something, but my brain didn't
yeah,
didn't remind me to do it.
the RNG didn't really allow for it anyways, though. So, but yeah, this track is probably one of the tracks that casuals find the most boring because it's very like there's a wide spacious track with not really much going on, but it is actually deceptively tricky to optimize in a speedrun setting because there's just a lot of like randomly complicated tech. Like doing this grass cut quickly is like such a pain, and like this tunnel section, there's so many small things that make this track like really, really like you can go down a difficult rabbit hole with this track. Every second barrier becomes even more and more painful. But yeah, so we're approaching the end. I don't know how behind I am in terms of the stream, so for me it's about like 6 seconds out. Yeah, it's looking like a 35:02.
That's a run.
Cool
Almost,
one, nice.
almost sub 35.
Yeah, nice. GG. A lot of golds. What we like to see.
It wasn't that bad. At least I got the nitro.
Yeah, no, the TA. I'm glad that TA skipped word because it looks so hype, especially for people that don't know about it. It's like whoa. But yeah, good stuff.
Thank you. Well, guys, that was my run here in this Hispanic speedrunning marathon. It was funny to speak English here because it's the first time I participate in an English marathon, and having Galaxian commentating with me is also a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me. So, well, um, I do streams obviously of the Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart 64 mainly. I don't really run this category. I run any person, no major glitches, but well, um, I wanted to like try something a bit different. It went okay. Like I can't really complain because it's a PB, you know. So,
Yeah.
well, um, what else do would you like to say?
Uh, yeah. I guess if anyone is interested in learning this game, there's the general Crash speedrunning server. We're nice folks over there. And if you want to also get into like the time trial scene, there's also a time trial dedicated Discord server. But yeah, I mean, yeah, shout outs to all my good friends over there. It's honestly a very welcoming community, and we help each other out a lot.
Yeah, the community
Help
is
each
actually
other.
really good and friendly. Like you can learn a lot of things. When I say a lot of things, it is a lot of things. Like for real. Like 1 year ago, I was playing like if I was literally new in the game because I didn't play it for like a long time, and but I really wanted to like speedrun it, so I started almost from zero. I guess I don't know. I think in 1 year, like in the present, I have made a very good progress. So yeah, I'm really like thankful to a lot of people, like Bujencio, for example. Like, he has helped me a lot. I really a lot. and obviously Galaxia and Hypnoshorgan, people like them that basically are the best players at this. So yeah, it is really a very good community, very helpful, and if you want to learn to run CTR, you can ask like whatever you want because you're going to get the answer.
Yeah.
So well, that was my run. Thank you very much, Galaxian, for being here.
It was a pleasure.
And I don't know which run it will be the next. Sorry for that, but keep enjoying the marathon. Thank you for giving me the chance to be here. See you later.
Have a good one, y'all.